Okay, so we're gonna make another graph here, and I want to use this time in Excel to show you how to do a couple things with Excel because it's pretty powerful and I want you to have these skills. So here I am in Excel. I've sort of set this up. I've got the candy, M&M, Skittles, Reese's Pieces, the number of candy, the mass, and then we're gonna do a few calculations. So if you want to set this up, we're gonna do this atomic mass later. So go ahead and set this up. Let me give you a second there, pause it. All right. So I'm going to start filling in some of these values. For the M&M, there were 7 candies. For the Skittles, there were 27 candies. Skittles. And for the Reese's Pieces, there were 13 of those candies. Now the mass of the M&Ms was 6.22 grams. The mass of the Skittles was 29.46 grams, and the mass of the Reese's Pieces was 9.61 grams. Okay, so I want to show you how to do a couple of calculations because Excel is pretty powerful that way. If we want to know the mass per candy, we're going to take this value, which is 6.22 grams, and we're going to divide it by the number of candies. So the way that I do that in Excel is hit equals. Okay, and equals tells Excel, hey, I'm going to do a formula, and then I'm going to click on 6.22. Right, and then I'm going to hit the backslash button, that's divided by, and then I'm going to hit the number, okay? Equals, and then I get a value there. So there's the value, right? Now, what's cool about that is because I'm going to do the same thing for the next 2 rows, I can grab this. Now, let me zoom in quite a ways so you can see this. So you see that green node right there? You can grab that and drag it down. And then it automatically does that calculation for you, right? Now, we don't want all those numbers, see that's a lot of numbers, to show up there. So I'm just going to hit this button, and that decreases the number of decimals that it shows. Okay, the whole number is still there, it just decreased what it shows. All right, now we also want to do percent abundance. And so for this, we're going to take the number of that candy divided by the total. There's a couple ways that you can do this, but I want to show you this formula. So we're going to take the number of the candy, which in this case, again, I hit equals to show that it's a formula. I'm going to hit the number of the candy, which is D2, right? And then I'm going to divide by the sum of these 3 boxes here. So I'm going to write sum. That just tells Excel, hey, add these up. And then I'm going to do an open parentheses. Okay, and now this is what I'm going to tell Excel what I want it to sum. So I'm going to highlight all 3 of these. Notice the boxes are red now, right? And then I'm going to close that off. And that gives me the sum. Ooh, wait a second. Let me fix this real quick. I didn't want it to do that. Okay. So there it is. That's 7 divided by the sum of these 3. Now, there's a problem. Because now, if I bring this down, notice these numbers don't make sense. And the reason why, notice this was over here, D2 to D4, right? So here's D2, here's D4. This one is D3 to D5. The problem is when I bring that down, it also brings the formula down. So we got to modify it, okay? So here's the formula. Up here again, I'm going to highlight D2 to D4. Now, I want that to remain D2 to D4 even when I bring this down, right? So I'm going to hit function F4. And what that did is that put dollar signs in there. And dollar signs means don't change this. All right, so let me show you that again. So I'm going to Control Z, and this time I'm just going to type them in there. So I don't want to change the D, so I'm going to put a dollar sign in front of it, or the 2, put a dollar sign in front of it. I don't want to change this D, put a dollar sign in front of it, or this 4, put a dollar sign in front of it. Okay, and that means that that D2 to D4 won't change. But this D2 in front will change. So watch. I'm going to scroll it on down. Now this makes more sense. Take a look at this formula here. That's D3, which is Skittles, divided by, again, D2 to D4. And if I go down one more, that's D4, which is Reese's Pieces, divided by D2 to D4. So there's my percentages. Those are actually the fraction of, but if I add those up, those are going to add up to be 1. Okay? Now, I want to do a graph, okay? Because I want you to see what an isotopic abundance graph would look like. And this would be from like a mass spectrometer, which we'll talk more about. So this time, I'm not going to click on any data. I'm going to do the graph from scratch, okay? So I'm going to hit Insert, and then I want to do a bar chart. I want to do this one. Notice it's blank. That's because we didn't highlight any data. Okay, get this out of your way here. Make sure you can see all this stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here to select data, right? Okay, so this is blank as well. We need to add a series, right? So I'm going to add series name. Not terribly worried about that. Let's go ahead and call it percent abundance because that's what we're going to highlight here. Now, series values. I want these. So I'm going to highlight these three for percent abundance. And then notice that they show up. It looks pretty good so far. But notice it says 1, 2, and 3, right? That's what this is showing here. I don't want it to say 1, 2, and 3. I want it to say M&Ms, Skittles, and Reese's Pieces. So I'm going to edit this, click on that, and then I'm going to highlight that. Notice this, now it says M&Ms, Skittles, and Reese's Pieces. Hit OK, hit OK. Looks pretty good, but I want to make some changes. Notice this is given the fraction here. I don't want this to be the fraction, and that's what this is showing me here, the fraction. I want this to be the percentage, right? So I'm going to highlight these three, and then go up here, and I'm going to click percentage. Boop, and then whoop, automatically over here, percentage. All right. Now, the other problem is these are not arranged from lowest mass to highest mass, which I want to do. Now, I could, if I really wanted to, just reorganize these. But instead, I'm going to show you this little trick. I'm going to highlight all of this. I'm going to go up to Insert and then Table. Now, tables are really, really powerful in Excel. Like I said, I want to organize these from smallest mass to highest mass, right? So this Reese's Pieces should be first. So this bar should actually be over here. Skittles should be last, and then M&M should be in the middle. So all I'm going to do right here, where I can filter it, I'm going to click smallest to largest. And look what it does. Now it's smallest to largest, right? Okay, now, by looking at this, I can see that the largest mass is also the largest percentage. So I would think that the atomic mass of this particular element should be really close to the mass of a Skittle and not as close to the mass of a Reese's Pieces. And I can actually figure out the atomic mass. So I'm going to show you how to do another formula. Okay, so we're going to hit equals, again, telling Excel we're going to do a formula. And what we want to do to figure out isotopic abundance, or the actual atomic mass of an element, we take the how often it's found, percent abundance, times how much it weighs. Okay, and then we do that all the way down and just add those together. So I'm going to do that. So I got equals. I'm going to take my percent abundance, that, times, that's the asterisk, that, G2 times F2. Okay. Then I'm going to add that to G3 times F3. And then I'm going to add that to G4 times F4. Okay, and then I'm going to hit enter. I can see that my mass is 0.964, which is a lot closer to the Skittles than it is to the Reese's Pieces, and that makes sense because I have a lot more Skittles than I do of Reese's Pieces or M&Ms. Okay, so there's just a couple things that I wanted to show you on how to do Excel. Okay.